Welcome to the Fit and Field podcast, your go-to source for all things health and nutrition. Here we explore topics and simplify ideas that can help you maximize your training, your nutrition, and optimize your health. I'm your host, NikkiFit, a functional nutrition coach, a certified fitness expert, and a nationally ranked physique competitor, and I have helped hundreds of men and women just like yourself balance their hormones, find freedom with food, and truly create the physique of their dreams. So sit back and relax and get ready to expand your mind, challenge your assumptions, and discover something new. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fit and Fuel podcast. What is up, guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Fit and Fueled podcast. So today I am so excited that you guys are here because we have a very special guest here with us today. Amy Gerhartz is not only a dear friend and colleague, she is someone that I've known for many, many years. I respect very much, and she is a very unique set of skills, I would say, and a skill set, which I think is just wonderful. And it's something that I feel like is also very trendy right now. And that is mindset coaching or mindset. You hear that a lot nowadays. So I'm going to let Amy introduce herself. I'm going to let her go first. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what we're going to get into today. And then we're just going to jump right in. So Amy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Nicole. I am so excited. I'm excited to talk with you, for your listeners. So my name is Amy Gerhartz. I am the founder and CEO of a company called A Higher Way of Living. I do mindset coaching, specializing in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, really the language of the brain, how we all communicate with ourselves, with each other. And I also am certified as a hypnotherapist as well. And I also lead corporate workshops and keynotes around anything related to confidence, around communication skills, leadership, you name it, I probably do it. I tell people all the time that you have so many technical trainings to teach you processes and systems. I am your soft skills lady. I teach you how to be a human being and to speak and present and communicate with the people around you, at least in the corporate space.
Well, I think communication is key, and it's not just communicating with others. It's also how we communicate with ourselves.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Our inner dialogue that we have with ourselves. And I think that one of the big reasons I really wanted to bring you on today was so many of my listeners are in a journey of health and wellness. They're in a journey of fitness. They're usually trying to do something with their health. They're trying to go through some kind of transformation, whether it's losing weight, building muscle, cleaning up their diet. And there is so much noise that goes on in our heads. And a lot of times I feel like that noise can be very negative. And I think that just, circling back to mindset, like that's what it's all about. Like having a positive mindset, having a growth mindset. That's something that I think I've heard you talk about before, which I really love. I just think that the way we speak to ourselves is either a very powerful, motivating, uplifting experience, or it's absolutely detrimental to us to the point where it can cause unneeded stress, depression, anxiety, all of these things. This inner critic that I think we all struggle with to some degree is like this little demon on our shoulder, right? We got like the good angel, the bad angel. It's like this little demon over here that's like constantly making us doubt ourselves or constantly making us think bad about ourselves. So one of the things that I wanted to have you discuss and give back to the viewers or listeners today, both platforms today, is just different things we can do to kind of reverse that negative self-talk, shut down that inner critic. How can we go from this negative body image? I'm not good enough. I'll never lose weight. I'll never do this, or I can't do this. I'm looking forward to hearing that. And I think that's just really beneficial for people that are on their healthy way of life journey to understand, one, that it's normal. I totally think it's normal. And two, you're in control of it.
Yes.
Right? It's like, I think so many people just go through their life, they have these negative thoughts or these things, and they don't realize that they can reframe it. And that's one of your words. They can reframe how they feel and talk to themselves. So at the end of the episode, guys, Amy is going to give us a couple tips and tricks when it comes to different ways to manage our body positivity, and then also to how to work on creating more empowering thoughts. That's what this whole podcast is all about. Amy is being very humble. She's very well known in her industry. She's been on the cover of multiple magazines. I'm
Thank
so
you.
very impressed. And yeah, we're just going to jump right in. So I've been a part of your platform for a little while now. So her platform is Higher Way of Living, and it is a subscription coaching, mindset coaching platform. I think I said it twice,
Yeah.
but
Membership. Yeah,
membership,
absolutely.
which offers a monthly coaching call. And then it also has hypnosis, which is a big part of what she does too.
Yeah.
But as I was reading some of the first parts actual website and membership site, you were talking about your own struggle that you had with like self-esteem and self-confidence. And I just wanted maybe to start there so people can understand like where you came from and like how Amy came to be who she is and helping other people.
Yes, I absolutely. And I love that you talked earlier about like the angel and the devil on the shoulder, because part of my story before I became a coach for many, many years, I was in the music industry, the performance industry. I've been self-employed for over, oh my gosh, over 16 years now. I grew up singing and performing. My first performance I ever did was I was about 7 years old, and I was in a play that I wasn't even cast in. It was my brother's play, and I jumped on stage and started singing. But here's the point I bring that up, or the reason I bring all of that up, is that something that many people didn't know about me, even though I was traveling across the country with music, I was building a fan base, I was playing these big festivals, I did work for commercial and film projects. Behind the scenes, when we talk about that devil on your shoulder, I genuinely struggled with my self-confidence. I was horrifically insecure. I would body shame all of the time. I would tell myself I was fat, I was ugly, I wasn't good enough. I had so many negative voices in my head that, if I'm being honest, our programming, and we can talk about, I know we're going to talk about programming and why the mind receives things a certain way, but it doesn't just happen overnight. It's something that had started building from a really young age, these insecurities. And over time, I just started developing this belief system about myself. And I even would say that, I haven't, talked to a medical professional about it, but in the work that I do and the work I do with my therapist, I can very confidently say I had some body dysmorphia as well. There were times where I would look in the mirror and see something that just was not there. And I would experience and feel things that weren't there. So when it comes to confidence, this is all stuff that I've gotten to work through on my own and guide my clients through. When we talk about mindset, it is so important to understand. There's a great quote. I'm going a little sideways here, but bear with me, because there's this great quote I love by John A. Cuff that says, one of the biggest mistakes we can make is thinking that all of our thoughts are true.
Oh, I love
And
that. Amen, girl. Yes.
it's such a great quote. And part of acknowledging that we're struggling is being able, or excuse me, part of healing the struggling is first acknowledging it, that it's actually happening. So I had hit a rock bottom moment in 2015. I just finished my first cross country tour with music independently. And I remember looking in the mirror in my apartment in Nashville, and I was just bawling on my bedroom floor because I could not look in the mirror without hating the person looking back at me. And hate's a strong word, but that's pretty close to how I felt. And I just had this moment where I realized I just didn't want to live this way anymore. And so that's when I started my personal development journey. And I knew, and I made an agreement with myself that day. I said, no matter how I'm feeling, no matter what I'm thinking, I'm no longer going to give any voice to the negative thoughts that are in my head. And I'm going to start working day after day after day after day. And it was through that continuous work and effort of, hiring therapists and reading books and going to seminars and whatever it is in personal development that I started healing to where one day I could look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am lovable, I am capable. And that's really what started the trajectory of me getting into the coaching field. Now, granted, can I coach so many different things like performance skills and speaking skills and, communication skills? Absolutely. But the core of all of that really comes from believing in who you are and having a healthy relationship with who you are. And I know you talk a lot about developing health all around. And that's a huge thing that I think most people skip, specifically when it comes to weight loss or fitness journeys. They work on so much of the physical, but they forget about the mental, which is why we're having this conversation.
100%. And I agree with that. And I speak with a lot of my clients about their mindset too, and just trying to unpack sometimes their negative thoughts and emotions around themselves.
Yes.
It's very hard in the world we live in today. And I'm going to kind of go to the next question too, and touching on this. And, we live in this social media world, right? Where
Mm.
we are constantly bombarded. And, men and women, but I'm going to just say women for a second, are constantly bombarded with this visual of fitness or health or beauty, or let's take the physical out of it, success. What does it mean to be successful? What does it mean to be wealthy? What does it mean to be happy? So it's like another step, another challenge that people face, that we all face, is we doom scroll. I heard that on a podcast the other day, and I was like, yep, I know exactly what that is, and I've been trying not to do it. And it's hard, but this like just mindlessly scrolling sometimes. I'm actually doing really, really good at that, actually. I'm very proud of myself. But how do we like move past that? Like, right? Like, I try to explain to my clients when they see someone that's like super lean, I'm like, look, they are probably miserable right now. They are dieting, and a lot of these people that are influencers, they get down, they get ready for a show, or they do whatever, and they
Yeah.
have tons of photos taken, tons of photoshops done, and photo shoots and Photoshop, but then they use those pictures all year. So it's like they
Yeah.
don't actually walk around that way, but the perception is that they do, right? And so I think that when, people are on this journey of trying to transform their health or their lives, they're like, why don't I look like that?
Yeah.
How do we fix that? How do we like bridge that gap and like shut that off? Like, I don't know. What would you tell your clients if they were struggling in that sense?
Yeah, I think there's, first of all, great question. I think there's many, many layers to it as well. The
I
first thing
agree.
I would say to do, there's an NLP technique that there's thousands of NLP techniques, but we learn in NLP two different really powerful tools. One is association or attachment, and the other is dissociation or detachment. And so sometimes I believe it's valuable to pull ourselves out of the equation, to be able to detach from the things that we're seeing, the things that we're experiencing. And I know that's easier said than done. So one tool that I'll do is sometimes I will pull myself out and say, what if I was looking down upon my life right now? I wasn't actually in my life, living it, and I wasn't actually scrolling. How could I look as like an outside third party observer to everything that's happening? And then the same thing whenever you look at social media, when I'm scrolling through and I'm looking at posts, I'm not saying I don't want to care about my friends and my family and the things that I'm looking at, but how could I look at it without an emotional attachment? And that's really, really important to say, because for me, one of the biggest lessons I learned, especially being an entrepreneur and a business owner and utilizing social media, either to promote my music for years or through, all of the things that I did with that career, but also with my coaching business. And, there's so many different platforms. I remind myself every day, social media is a tool. It is just a tool. When people go around, oh, money's bad, money's bad, money's not bad, money's just a tool.
Right.
So it all depends on how you use it. Now, it's interesting because I am really torn with social media. I am so torn with it because there's so many negative things that are put out on social media. It is a very easy trap to fall into the comparison. However, it is such an amazing resource as well to find people like you and other folks in the health and wellness industry that are actually wanting to support people all around. And
Yeah.
there's the big body positivity movement as well. I know that you and I have talked about that. So
Correct.
I will say the biggest thing with social media is remember it's just a tool. And also remember you're only seeing a one-sided view of somebody's journey.
Right.
Like you said. Now, and I'm also going to say to the listener, because I don't want you to think that I'm above any of this, the things that you talk about, the comparison, oh, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that. I experience all of that as well too. I just remind myself sometimes to pull myself out of the equation. And I think that's an important thing to remember. Where are we taking things on as a reflection of us when they have nothing to do with us?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
That's huge. One of the things that I will tell my clients or individuals that I work with is if you are on social media and you are viewing an image, you're reading a post, and you have any kind of negative reaction or like a self-doubt, or it makes you feel bad about yourself, like whatever that reaction might be that is not good, that is not true, unfollow that person. It doesn't matter if they're your best friend.
Yep.
Right? They're posting a certain kind of content, and every time you look at it, you feel bad that you haven't lost the last 5 pounds yet, or whatever it might be, or oh, they're doing this in their life, and I'm doing this. I'm with my kids, and whatever it might be. So it's just like that's something that I tell people is like I think once a week, once every couple weeks, you need to go through your social media and unfollow people. And just because somebody follows you doesn't mean you have to follow them back, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
so just being more mindful of what we ingest, I think is important too when it comes to mindset, because we need to work on our mindset, but then also I feel like we have to guard our mind,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely. The mind is just a giant information bank. It
I love
just
you said that
receives
before, and
in
I love that.
Yeah, it just receives information. So the mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. And
Got
so
it.
it's very important to understand everything in our surroundings. Think about the music you listen to, the TV shows you
100%.
watch, everything you consume, the people you hang out with, the podcasts that you listen to. Everything affects the thoughts and behaviors and the belief system that you develop about yourself. Now, they can be either empowering or it can be disempowering. There's no like good or bad here. It's just what's going to be beneficial for you and what's not. I don't listen to a lot of angry music.
Right,
I can't,
right.
because if I'm listening to angry music, it's more than likely going to put me into an angry mood. It's the same thing. I do not engage with content on social media that might be, am I allowed to swear on your podcast, by the
Go for
way?
it, my friend. I'm
Okay. So
on it.
I don't engage
I
in,
do. There's probably gonna be
yeah.
some F at some point, so we're good.
An F bomb. I don't engage in gossip posts. I do not engage in shit talking. I
Yeah,
do not engage in things, because the minute you like something or comment on something, that type of material you're going to see over and over and over again. And it is a slippery slope. It's just, and I tell my clients this with my journey, and it probably started well before I was in high school, but my body image issues and all of the things that I've struggled with, it can start as simple as the small little phrase of, "Oh, I just feel fat today."
yeah.
Right? It can start that simple, that innocent. And what happens is we say the word and then we go, "Oh, no, no, I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. I don't really feel fat today, but I kind of do feel fat." Right. And so we have these moments, especially women.
All done that. Like, oh my gosh, I've done something very similar to what you just
Yeah.
said. "Oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm just I really don't mean that." But
I don't
then
mean it. I don't mean
yeah,
it.
but you
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
But you do. And here's the thing I want you to understand, and for the listeners to understand: the mind does not know if you're joking. It
Ah,
does not know. So
got
if
it.
you say, "Oh, I feel fat today. Oh, my clothes, I'm just terrible. Today just sucks. I'm really just, the traffic's all," and it's little things that add up over and over and over and over again. So really being conscious of your language is equally as important as the things that you fuel into your mind and your visuals and everything else.
I think that it even, and you touched on this too, it stems from all sorts of different experiences in our lives.
Mhm.
I think of people with childhood trauma who
Yeah.
might have a parent or someone in their world that is talking negative all the time. And then they grow up and they have this same mindset. They've turned into that person. I think that if anybody out there is listening, like, it's almost like it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility now. Not responsibility. You have the power.
Yeah.
You have the power to
Well,
fix that mindset. It was like done to you almost, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
and I would say it absolutely is your responsibility,
Yeah,
because you are only responsible for yourself. No one it is nobody else's responsibility to give you the life that you want to have or to give you the relationship with yourself you want to have.
I
It is
agree.
not your fault. I would say that it's absolutely not your fault that you modeled behavior or heard behavior, but it is absolutely your responsibility to shift whatever those behaviors and patterns are.
Yeah, and breaking that cycle, right?
Yes.
I think that life is a circle and it will continue to go in a circle until we break whatever pattern that
Oh
that
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
And
I've heard that, and I've also noticed that in so many different aspects of my life. Until I do something different, the same things will keep coming up.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's where, when we talk about mindset, and I'm sure we'll get into this, working with you over the last, and I've known you for what, over a decade.
Yeah,
Uh,
easy.
but being able to have people in your corner that you can actually have these conversations with is so important, because
Yes.
I've been on my personal development journey for over 8 years now. I've done tremendous amounts of therapy and work and healing, and I still have days. And I want to say this for the listener: I still have days where I'm off. And I
Yeah,
still have days. I remember calling you and texting you in the middle of the night one night, and because I'd had this moment, and this was, when was this? Was this in November of last year, maybe?
probably.
It
Yeah.
was late last year. I had just moved. And by the way, Nicole and I, we've been working together for almost 3 years now, or two and
We've
a half,
really
3 years,
started to
like one on one, but we've worked together in the past, but
yes.
consistently. And I had a moment, and it came out of nowhere. It was just this moment where I had a great day. I felt really good about myself. I had been going to the gym 5, 6 days a week. I felt amazing. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my mind went to a really dark place. Now, here's what I will say to the listener. I'm so fortunate that I knew who to call when that happened, and I had someone to call when that happened. And
Yeah.
I remember calling you and saying, "Hey, I'm looking to take the easy way out. I don't want to do that." Like I was about to order a bunch of diet pills and things that
Yep.
were not healthy for me because it was an old pattern that I had when I was. And this is for the listener too. When I was in college, my entire diet consisted of ramen noodles and diet pills, and it was to the point where it was so much. Do you remember when ephedrine was like it was discontinued because it was killing people? It was like,
Legal and then it wasn't legal, right? So
yeah,
yes.
it was legal, then it was not legal because people were getting heart attacks. I remember when that happened, I was panicked because I thought in my mind, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to buy that now.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
how bad my thought pattern had gotten when I was in my early 20s. And I'm once again, we can debate whether I, took it to a really unhealthy place with my body or not. I mean, I think putting anything like that in your body is probably really unhealthy for you.
Yes.
But I will say that that thought had not come up for me in probably, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, if not more. This thought of, oh, well, let me just let go for the diet pills. And I'm in
Right.
this great space, and all of a sudden it came in. And so for the listener, the thing that is important to understand about when you're shifting a mindset is that it doesn't mean every day is going to be a good day. What is really great is when you have people in your corner like Nicole or me or a coach or a therapist or anyone else, we teach you the tools to be able to manage it. I'm so grateful I have had the last 8 years of personal development for when I was about to buy some shit online that I don't even need that would probably destroyed my body. I
Yeah.
closed my laptop and I called you. Like
Yeah.
that's the adulting. That's the responsibility of saying, okay, I know that this is an unhealthy part of my life. I know that there might still be a day 20 years from now. I could have my JLo body and look amazing and be on stage and still have a moment where my brain's going to go to a negative place. It's learning how to bring it back. It's
I think
learning how to be kind to yourself in that moment to bring yourself back.
you're so spot on. And that also translates to nutrition and
Yes.
health and wellness,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
So,
Yes.
let's say someone has a bad habit of doing something with food or whatever it might be, and they might be doing great for months and months and months and months and years. And then all of a sudden, just it's snap. It's,
Yeah.
it's this shift happens, right? And they binge on a bag of Oreos or
Oh
whatever
yeah.
it might be. So it's
Yeah.
like that like never goes away. It's
Mhm.
having the tools to fix it. So moving on, I think that we are kind of going to stay on the same topic.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that I wanted to just pick your brain about. It's something that I
Sure.
experience when it comes to my own mindset, because we're talking about how quickly the mind can shift,
Yeah.
right? How you had this episode where you reached out to me because you were going to revert back to old ways. And so I experienced that in certain aspects of my life. And the thing that I have found that's helped me is trying to be consistently grateful for what I have,
Mhm.
where I am, and my
Yeah.
health and things like that. Because I've noticed when I've had my moments where I've detoured, not necessarily in a nutritional standpoint, but from like a mental standpoint,
Yeah.
I lose what I'm grateful for, and I lose sight of all the blessings and all the things that I actually have. So how
Yeah.
does that gratitude piece tie into mindset?
Oh, it's everything. It's
It's everything.
everything. To me, it is a way to reground.
Okay.
Reground and gratitude for me, it's perspective shifting, right? We're going from focusing on the things that are not working, focusing on the shaming, focusing on the fact that you derailed, whatever it is, especially if we're just talking about the fitness journey. Gratitude brings your focus in a different direction. Anytime, and this is just an NLP thing, anytime you can shift your perspective, you're resetting your emotions. You're
Yes.
resetting where your focus is. I have clients all the time that are not even on fitness journeys, but all they can seem to focus on are the things that are not working in their lives. So if you're able to shift back, okay, well, what is working? Gratitude helps us go back to a place of what's working. It helps us to go back to a place of, oh, you know what? Actually, I'm grateful I've got, and it could be something as simple. I got a roof over my head. I've got food in the fridge. I've got money in the bank. I've got friends and family. I've got a trainer that I'm working with who's amazing, and her name's Nicole. It's all of these things, being able to reset back. And I think I want to say too for the listener, because I don't know if we fully, I know I touched on it with the last little bit we were talking about, but all of this is part of this journey of reshifting focus, coming back to gratitude, being being on whatever journey you're on is learning how to be loving and kind to yourself in the process. And part of gratitude for me brings me back to a state of kindness towards myself.
I love that.
And that's huge. Yeah, I have a practice now that I've taken it one step further because my faith is really important to me, and I've started taking a step back. And I'll actually twofold this down. I'll start first with my body because there are still days, and I'm not a big person by any means. I'm like in
Oh,
between a
you're
4 and a
not. Right.
6. Like I'm like I am not a big person, but some days, and it's not often, but there are still some days, especially when I derail and I have the chocolate cake or I have something else. I'll look in the mirror and I'll all of a sudden feel, and once again, I want to just say this to the listener, I'll feel this way. It doesn't mean it's real, but I'll
Right.
feel like
Right.
I had put on 20 or 30 pounds, right, in a day, which is not real. So there are moments where I look in the mirror, and what I've actually learned how to do, and I did this when you and I first started working together one-on-one, when I was hiring you as an elite client, which by the way, I would highly suggest anyone do. Nicole, as
Oh,
an elite, as elite coaching is amazing. It is worth every penny. But to have somebody I can call once a week to make the tweaks in my program was huge. But something I did from a mindset perspective, and I think I told you this, and I think I dropped 25 pounds in like the
yeah,
first 3 months of us working together.
you did.
Because I looked in the mirror, and instead of saying, I need to lose this weight, I thanked my body. I was
remember.
grateful for my body. And I remember looking in the mirror and saying, thank you for protecting me. Thank you for loving me. It's okay for you to go now. Like, I've got this now. Thank you for being there. Because when we talk about emotions and how, the things that we think trigger our emotions and vice versa. Sometimes our emotions can trigger the things that we think. You got to think about the negative impact too. I mean, our cortisol levels are going up because of stress. Our fear is kicking in. And you actually know more of the scientifics of this. When your body's in a fight or flight mode, it's going to hold on to whatever it thinks it needs to protect itself, right?
Correct. You're no longer, your body's not trying to lose weight. It's
Yeah,
trying
it doesn't care about losing weight. Your body's like, I got to keep you alive. And by the
exactly.
way, when it comes to the mind, for the listener, the mind is the exact same way. The
Oh,
mind's number one job is to keep you safe. That's what it is. It doesn't always mean it's keeping you safe in the best possible way.
is that why we have like fear sometimes?
Mhm,
Is that
all
why
the
our
time.
body's safe?
Yeah, we get in when you hear people say, "Oh, I'm self-sabotaging." No, you're not. Your mind is just trying to bring you back to a comfort zone because that's where it feels safe. So if you have habits and patterns, and I know this about myself, I have a habit and pattern of, okay, well, if I'm eating a ton of food and I'm having a great time at a festival, I'm feeling really good, I got nothing to be afraid of. So this is my comfort zone, right? Like I'm eating all my food, I'm drinking my beers, I'm having a really good time, and my brain thinks that that's a healthy place to be in because I feel good in that moment, right? I'm not afraid. So the
Right.
mind, it takes time to reprogram the mind to have a new belief system. And that's the work that I do. I help clients to shift that mindset through hypnosis, through NLP. But a lot of it is when I came to go back, and because we can digress on this for hours,
For
but
sure.
to go back to the gratitude aspect of it. When I started shifting and looking at my body and thanking my body, I'm creating this new belief system about the way I see my body too. Thank you
Got it.
so much for keeping me alive. Thank you, the gratitude towards the body. And then to take it a step further, as I was saying earlier, my faith is important to me. So I've actually started looking at all the things in my life as not really being mine. Like
Ooh,
what if everything in my life is a gift? And I'm
yeah.
not perfect at this, by the way, because I do like my things. But what if
Yes.
all the things are just a gift? How would I treat this, coffee mug if it was a gift that was given to me? How would I treat my home? How would I treat my clothes? How would I treat my family? Like everything is a gift. And so shifting that focus, there's that gratitude. Oh my gosh, I can actually use my arms and legs and walk to, around the block today. Or I have a car to drive me to the gym. Holy shit. Like this is great. It totally shifts the focus and it helps to ground and calm. And that humility that you talked about earlier, oh my gosh, it makes such a difference because then I get out of I need to lose 5 pounds tomorrow. And I say, wow, I'm just grateful I have a body that can go to the gym and work out and I have the strength to do that.
And I'm physically able to
I'm
do these
physically able to do it, right? I remember calling you once, and it was just recently too, because I have long-term goals, and that's a whole other thing we can talk about. That's helped me
things.
significantly. And to go back to for the listener, one thing I've really appreciated when we talk about the social media stuff, not to bring it all the way back there, but there was something I forgot to say, is that you have really helped me with that too by having conversations with you. Because when I look at how much muscle mass you have and how much muscle mass all these trainers have online, When you and I started working together, you said, you have to remember, you get to remember, I've been doing this for 15 to 20 years.
Right.
You've been doing this for 3 years. So in my mind, I think, oh, well, okay, then I can have that body in 15 years. Cool. No big deal. Like, I'll just keep working out for 15 years. It helped me to really get out of that instant gratification. Not to say it doesn't still come in, but it was that perspective shifting.
Yeah, of course. So, that's training history. And I talk about that a lot with people. You can't compare your journey to anyone else's because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different variables. And especially if you're looking at someone that's very muscular, you have to look at how long they've been training, how consistently they've been training, and not just working out and taking classes here and there. And then today I'm going to do yoga. And then today I'm just going to go walk my dog. And all those things are great. You should do all those things. But if you're talking about specifically building muscle, it's like having a strategic plan and
Mm-hmm.
executing the plan day in and day out. How long have you been doing that? That's a big key when it comes to progress and obtaining, a higher amount of lean muscle tissue.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I'm going to move on a little bit because I absolutely love the gratitude stuff. And I think it's super, super important. And I want to just ask you, what is something or a couple things that the listeners could do if they're struggling right now? Like if they're suffering with this inner dialogue, and I know that this is like a health and fitness podcast, but it could be with anything. It could be with relationships. It could be with business and their, coworkers. And what are some things that people could do starting today to start to kind of shift that mindset a little bit?
Yeah, and here's where I'm going to stress for the listener, the most important thing is to tell someone or
Ooh,
find someone to keep in your corner. Now, here's what I want to say, that there's a caveat to that. Not everyone has our best intentions at heart. So
right.
find someone you trust, let someone know you're struggling. I think there are so many people that struggle in silence. I'd love to rewind really quickly and give you another part of my story. So my depression runs in my family. There are many members of my family that experience and struggle with depression. There has been suicide in my family. I've talked with my mother about this for years, and she's okay with me sharing this. But for many, many years, my mother has struggled with depression. She also had an eating disorder for many years as well, too. And and we've had many conversations and therapy sessions and healing in our journey of how that could or could not have possibly affected my journey. But what I will say is that the one thing that I learned at a very young age is my mother was always very open about what she was experiencing. And so she would tell us, Mom's having a rough day right now, or I'm going to speak to somebody today. And so that helped me in my journey to realize it's okay to not be okay. It's
Got it.
okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to find a therapist or a counselor. It's okay to find a
Therapists are
coach.
amazing.
I
Therapists
am
are
I am a
I
huge
know about
advocate for
therapy.
therapy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a power team. I've got my fitness coach, I got my therapist, I got my I got my business coaches I work with. I've got a whole power team of people because not any single person can handle all the things. But the first thing is find somebody in your corner. And look, Nicole and I would love you to work with either one of us, but at the end of the day, find anybody you trust.
Yeah.
Anybody that you know that has your best interest at heart. That's the first step.
And also, I would say that this person, preferably, in my opinion, would not need to be a family member.
1000%.
You need
Yes.
someone who is totally like disconnected from your life, that is this like third party like objective. I think that's very important, that whomever you're
Yeah.
using as your person to like express whatever you have going on, it doesn't mean don't tell your family. It doesn't mean don't talk to your family. It just means whoever you're going to for counsel, that
Yeah.
person doesn't need to know anything about your life other than when you're coming to tell them, this is my situation.
Yeah.
This is what I'm dealing with.
Yeah. And I think that is so, so, so important. And your family is great to be a support system, but they should not be your coaches or your guides through the journey.
Got it.
Unless the only caveat I would say to that is unless it's somebody who's already experienced what you've been through. And
No, that's true.
that would be somebody. But even then I would still suggest, like Nicole said, to find somebody that is not a family member or a super, super close friend, because you want somebody who's going to be neutral territory.
That's the word I was looking for. Like a
Yeah,
neutral person. Yes.
absolutely. So the first tip is find somebody to tell and to talk to and to work with.
Love
Two,
that.
I would say remind yourself from the mindset perspective, and I do this a lot. Where I am now is not where I will always be.
Ooh, I love that. Say that again. Say that again.
Where I am now is not where I will always be. when we are in a state of emotional distress, remember I talked about association and dissociation? We are
Yes.
associated, we are attached, we are feeling, we are living in the movie, right? When
Yes.
we remind ourselves that it's almost like the this too shall pass type of thing. When we remind ourselves that this is where I'm at today, but this is not where I will always be, it is actually a great reminder, not only for the bad days, but for the good days, to focus on that gratitude as well. But to
Amen.
remind yourself that everything has a flow to life in it. And then the third part, and we'll get to this probably a little bit as we kind of wrap up the episode with the type of coaching and the things that I do, is that there is hope. I think it's really important in times when we do not feel like there is any hope or there's any light at the end of the tunnel. If you're somebody listening to this and you're struggling right now, for someone myself who's been through it, Nicole, I know you've had your struggles and things in life you've been through.
Definitely.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. You may not be able to see it now, but it goes back to I'm not where I'm at now is not where I'll always be, and there is hope. So those three things together, I think, are the best first steps. And then I can give you loads and loads of other steps and tips and, and tools to use. But yeah, those are the places to start.
And so talking to someone,
Mhm.
right? That's the first one. And then the second one was what? How would you just recap?
Remind just where you are now is not where you'll always be. Just remind yourself that. And
Yeah.
then and
Have
then
hope.
and then hope. There is hope at the end. And I think the other thing too that you could do when it does come to the resources you have, going back to social media is a tool. Start following motivational things that make you feel good about
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
Follow the
Really
people that make you feel good. Follow the people that have gone through the journeys. Find a mentor, which is part of step one, but follow the people that get you, that
Yeah.
understand you.
Find your people, find your
Find
tribe.
your tribe.
Yeah,
Yes,
find your tribe.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna share a tip too, because like I said earlier, one of the things that if I get away from this practice,
Mhm.
it's very easy for me to go sideways with my mental
Mhm.
I have with myself. And that comes back to the gratitude thing. My therapist one time, actually, well, she was one of my therapists, but this one actually told me this was a grief counselor because I went through some loss in my life. And so actually I went through some grief therapy. So if there's anybody out there that is suffering with or struggling with loss or grief, there are specific people that deal with that, and they're amazing. And I highly recommend you do that. It changed my life. Absolutely. I'll say that. But she's the one who got me started on the gratitude journal. And I
Mhm.
know we've probably all heard this before, but she told me my homework for like weeks and weeks, pretty much the whole entire time I worked with her, it compounded every week, was to write down 3 things I was grateful for and 3 positive affirmations about myself. And like some days, y'all, it would be like, okay, I'm grateful for my iPhone and I'm grateful for my groceries. I mean, it's like random, like just stuff. But then some days I would have this like amazing, like moment of like, I'm grateful for all of these things and blah,
I
blah, blah, blah,
know.
blah, you know? But I would just say, for anyone struggling, writing down 3 things you're grateful for every day and 3 positive affirmations. So positive affirmations, like those I am statements. I am a successful business owner, or I manage my money well, or
Mhm.
like different things like that. Like whatever you want to happen, write it as if that's who you are already. So I think, even coupling that
Yeah.
with finding someone, reaching out to someone, having hope, right? Like knowing there's light at the end of the tunnel, and just know that where you are right now is not where you will always be, nor do you have to stay there. You can
Oh,
make
yeah.
a
Yeah.
choice to try to do something different. And I think that that's where I think a lot of people that listen to podcasts are probably on the personal growth train
Yeah.
anyways, if you
Yeah.
will. But that's where like that personal growth comes in. And, one of the things you talked about in Club episode, which is her membership subscription, The Higher Way of Living, was people with fixed mindsets and people with growth mindsets, right?
Mhm.
Tell me about that. I want you to kind of recap that. What's the
Yeah.
difference between a fixed and like a growth? Like I know, and I'm sure the viewers
Totally.
know.
Yeah, and it's by the
Well.
way, this is just thank you for asking that. It's a really easy Google search away too, but long
Yeah,
story short, fixed is saying this is where it's at, this is the way it's been, this is the way it'll always be. Growth
got it.
is saying I am continually learning, I can get better, I can change, I can shift. So fixed is closed off, growth is open. It's that simple. And it is huge too, especially and I love that you brought up the club too and you talked about the gratitude because part of being in the membership, it's a monthly membership and I'm sure we'll talk about it here in a second,
Yeah,
but I have I have a weekly progress tracker inside of that
I
membership
saw
too, where
that. It was
you
awesome.
can track your gratitude, you can track your self-care days, you can track all of these things, which is really nice. And don't worry, it's not like this massive journal that you have to have, but it's a great tool. And developing the growth mindset. Here's what I want to say: you can have a growth mindset in one area of your life and a fixed mindset in the other. So it's
Ooh, wow.
really, really important. Mic drop. And I honestly learned that one the hard way for me, because I've always been so open-minded with like going after my career, the things I love. I mean, I've always been the let's jump and I'll figure it out later type of person. I realized over time, because of my habits and behaviors, even though I had this massive growth mindset with my career, when it came to my personal life, I had a very fixed mindset. And so there were things that I got to learn and work on to say, oh, no, I can actually shift and change all these things. And it is interesting. No human being is perfect. There's no such thing as perfection. There's always progress. And when you can look at your life and the things that you're doing from the state of progress, especially the health and wellness and fitness aspect of the life, I am just progressing. And some days that progression might not feel like anything's happening, right? But I'm doing something, I'm showing up, I'm evolving. And so I think that's so important to really remember in this journey. It's not like I'm completely fixed or I'm completely in a growth mindset. It's sometimes we can have both, and we just keep working towards developing that growth mindset.
And, I think that is what is so beautiful about the club. Guys, the club is Amy's membership program,
Yeah.
and it's a monthly subscription. And I love what you said about it. So she actually had a big demo of it the other day, and I actually spoke on the webinar, and it was wonderful. And she was like, I just want a way for mindset coaching, the people that need to kind of reprogram the way they talk to themselves, feel about themselves. I want it to be accessible. I want people
Yeah.
to be able to afford it. Coaching one-on-one is an investment,
It
right?
is a big
Some
investment for a
coaches that
lot
are
of people.
way crazy high in price.
Yeah.
Some that are not, so it depends where you are in your life. But I love that it's affordable, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I just want you to kind of just tell us about what the club offers. So just so you guys know, I'm in the club. Yay, let's press on. But I'm in the club, and I've been going through, her first phase of coaching, and it's just excellent. Like
Thank
it's
you.
refreshing. And I also loved that it was like 20 minutes,
Oh yeah.
right?
It's 20,
I am a
25 minutes.
squirrel. Like I
Yeah.
am a squirrel in a minute. Like my attention is like, what are we doing? Like, right.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a big attention span.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's just kind of the world we live in today now too.
Yeah.
Is so pace, but I love that. So tell us a little bit about the club.
Yeah, the club is a brand new subscription membership that I developed. And to rewind a little bit, I've been in my coaching business for the last couple of years now. I've worked with executive level clients. I've worked with corporate clients. I've had a good amount of one-on-one clients that I've worked with. But over the years, and here's the thing, whenever you're growing a business, if you make everything free, you can't serve people. So it's really important to understand that the listener knows we can do a ton of free stuff, but we cannot keep running a business without any bills being paid. So when I first started my business, it behooved me to grow a client base of one-on-one clients. Now I had so many calls with people, and yes, one-on-one coaching is an investment. It is a wonderful investment.
It is
I have
completely worth it. I have a coach.
worth every penny,
Yes.
but it is not inexpensive. And there are certain people that I met along the journey that desperately wanted to start their coaching journey. They desperately wanted to start their personal development journey. They liked me. They wanted to work with me, but they couldn't afford my services. And something that really started to gnaw in my heart a little bit is, why am I really doing this? Yes, I want to help people. Yes, I want to be paid for my time. But at the same time, I don't feel like God gave me a gift to just only serve the elite. To only serve the people that could afford me. And so for the last 5 months, I've been very fortunate with the clients I have and the companies that hire me as well. All of this helps us to keep the operation going and up and running. So if you do work for a company, by the way, feel free to give me a call. I'd love to do some communication and mindset trainings. But
we'll have all Amy's contact info.
Oh yeah, it's all down there. Club is an affordable monthly coaching membership. And when I say affordable, you guys, it starts as low as $5 a month.
Yeah.
I wanted to create almost a Netflix style subscription membership where every month, because here's the other thing. So the club is, who is the club for? Let's start this over. Who is the
Love it.
club for? Either you're brand new on your journey and you have never done any mindset work before, you have no idea where to get started, and it feels very overwhelming for you because there's so many coaches and books and things out there, you can go to. So it's for you if you're brand new. If you've been in coaching for a while, but you've kind of hit a little bit of a slump, it's for
Right.
you. And if you're somebody that's already had coaches and you feel like you're kicking ass, but you just want some monthly tips and things to keep working on, it's for you as well. And so maybe you hit a middle roadblock, or you just came in for tips and tricks, or you're brand new and you just want to get started. Those are the three main people this is for. And what's great is that every month you're going to get a coaching video, which is one thing to work on. And by the way, I'm giving you one thing for a reason, because something else I want you guys to understand about the subconscious mind, and I know, Nicole, that you know this being in health and fitness, in wellness, is that if you try to do too many things at once, your brain is going to get overloaded and you're not going to do anything. If I give you 15 things to do in 1 month, you're not going to create a new habit. So we focus on creating a new habit every single month. And what's great about that, and a new programming every single month, because you don't want to overwhelm the subconscious mind when it comes to mindset work. So you get one lesson every month. You also get a complimentary hypnosis audio. And I think it's really important to point out that hypnosis is really like guided meditation. It is just positive suggestion being added in. I'm feeling good. I'm confident. I'm capable. Those types of things being added in to help get you there faster. That's the one thing. I get this question all the time. Why is hypnosis beneficial? Because it reprograms that negative belief system faster. The coaching video, if you think, is on the conscious level, the hypnosis starts to program on the subconscious level. And then on top of that, you have a workbook every month. So that's our $5 level, $5 a month level. It's $7 if you pay month to month, $5 if you pay for the year in full, which is, guys, this is a no-brainer. I mean, Starbucks costs more money than this. And then there's also a VIP level, which is great because the VIP level starts as low as $25 a month. And you can come to a once a month coaching call, group call. You get bonus trainings as well. You also get discounts to any products or services we put out, or any, coaching events or anything like that. So it is absolutely, in my opinion, if you're able to do the VIP level, it is worth every penny, because, hint, hint, Nicole is actually one of our bonus trainers in the VIP level. She's coming in to teach a lesson for us as well. And there's just so many other benefits of being part of a community. And this is a big passion of mine. I want people to have zero excuses of why they can't get started, or, that's holding them back. And so I've made this affordable. I've made it within a certain amount of time constraint, so it doesn't take
digestible for sure.
It's digestible, absolutely digestible. And it's going to help support you in your energy levels too, because it's going to help program that healthy mindset to give you more energy, more excitement, more joy in your life.
And it's one of those things where mindset coaching translates, and I think that hopefully we've made this point, but I'm going to say it again. It translates to all areas of life.
Yes.
It's just not your weight loss. It's just not your fitness. It's not your health. It's your business. It's your relationship. It's your spiritual relationship. It's so many different aspects, and I think that people miss the mark sometimes. And like, they have a fixed mindset. They don't realize they have a fixed mindset. They just think that, well, this is how it is, how it's always been, it's how it's always going to be. But it doesn't have to be that way. And that's pertaining to your health, your wealth, your relationships, like everything, right? So you have the power, but I feel like the power is in your mind. And the mindset coaching develops that.
It does.
Right? Just we work on our muscles to develop our bodies. It develops our mind. So I just think it's just huge. And I'm beyond excited to be partnering with you on some of the trainings, and just really looking forward to learning from you, as I have been over the past 3 or 4 years, and just continuing to learn from you, because I just feel like anytime you and I have ever had a call, or we've gone through anything, some of our own coaching sessions, I just feel so uplifted. I feel so grounded. I feel like if I was getting squirrely over here, like I'm back in line now. Our conversations and coaching on both ends have been just, worth their weight in gold. So,
And that's the power for the listener there of having people in your corner, because
amen.
the
Amen.
feeling is mutual, Nicole. I mean, there have been so many times where I'm like, I'm going to eat the whole cheesecake. And you're like, bring it back, girl, bring it back. I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I got this, and so, and also,
What would I say if I was on your shoulder? I'd be like, don't you eat that
yeah,
cake.
yeah. But then you'd be very loving and kind to me after I did eat the cake.
I would. I'd be like, it's okay, boo.
You ate the cake. It's not the end of the world, but just don't eat it
Right.
every day.
Not the end of the world. Just
Don't do it every day. But also too, for your listener, I want to offer a free gift to everybody here today too.
I
I
love
realized I forgot to mention that to all the listeners. I do. If you're somebody that's kind of like, well, Amy, this sounds really great. I know it's only $5 a month, but I want to see some of your materials and stuff first. I have a completely free instant confidence guide. It's creating instant confidence, and it's 6 tips and 6 powerful ways that you can shift your mindset instantly to create more confidence in your life, in any area of your life. So Nicole have that in the notes section as well too. You can download the creating instant confidence guide. You can check out the club. I would love to have you as a member of the club. It is so affordable. It is so fun. And I'm so excited just to be able to get it launched off for everybody.
Bite-sized and digestible enough that it gets the wheels turning and it gives you some tools and things to work on.
Yeah.
And plenty of time to work through it within the 4 weeks before you get your next piece of information or your next. So I like that. I like to break things down when I'm working with clients too. We usually try to do, 1 habit maybe at a time, 2 habits at a time, whatever it might be. But because if it's too much at once, you can't retain it, you can't apply it. And then usually people just throw their hands in the air and say, I just can't do this anymore. And they give up.
Oh yeah. It's every program out there ever. And by the way, I've done that too.
I have too. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think it's really, thank you so much. And I'm really proud of this program. And I want to say too, doing anything and starting somewhere is the first step. If you do nothing, and I will say this is something I've learned in my journey, if I do nothing, I'm going to be exactly where I am next year at the exact same space in the exact same place.
Nothing is a choice.
Nothing is a choice. Exactly.
So you're choosing to do something or not do something. So
exactly.
you're choosing to try.
Yeah. And so I would say for anybody listening to this, and I promise this will be the last plug I do for my membership program. But if you are listening to this and you're kind of on the fence, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. Jump in, try it out, check it out, come to the coaching call if you want to do the VIP, and really realize, and also you can cancel at any time too. You don't have to commit to the entire year. I will say if you cancel and you step out for a while and you come back, you will start over again, because we are going to want to reprogram the mind again from the beginning. Because that's how you're going to get the most out of the program.
That's just the way that works.
That's the way it works. Yeah. And it's all a rental of the materials, but yeah, come on in, dip your toes in the water. The water's warm. It's fun. It's lovely. So mindset and health and wellness is like the best place to be in.
I agree. It's awesome. It's, it's a space where you can really see personal growth and change.
Yeah.
And it's very impactful and very transformational.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that as humans, we should always be growing and striving to uplift ourselves and others. Right. And always know, like you said, where you are right now is not where you're always going to be, nor do you have to be there. And you have the power. You have the power inside of you to make changes, which is super impactful. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up, and I got one thing I'm going to ask you. Sure. I actually stole this from another podcast I was listening to, and I loved it so much.
I steal things all the time. Absolutely.
Okay. So if you had a billboard, and this billboard could have 3 words on it, what would those 3 words be? What would the message you want to send to people? It doesn't have to be a sentence. What would those 3 be?
You matter too.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
You matter too. And the reason I want to say that is I have so many clients, and Nicole, I'm sure you're the same way, and so many people that I work with, and I'm talking like executive level clients that have put everyone and anyone before themselves. You matter just as much as everybody else in your life. You're not better than, you're not worse than, you matter just as much. And I think it's really important because there's a myth that self-care and taking time for you is a selfish act. It is probably one of the most selfless things you can do to take care of your health, your fitness, your mindset, and you matter too.
All the moms out there listening.
Oh,
kids.
yeah. Oh, geez. So many moms.
If you're in the thick of it right now, and
caretakers, moms,
Yeah.
coworkers. I mean, I have a lot of clients too that will bend over backwards for their job. You
Absolutely.
matter too.
Yeah.
You matter too.
You got to put the oxygen mask on you first. How cliche is that, right?
It
But
is.
it's so true. If you can't take care of you, you
Mhm.
can't show up
Yeah.
to the best of your ability for everyone else that needs you.
Yeah.
So it's not selfish to take that time for yourself, but you matter too. I love that. That just is so awesome. Well, Amy, I just want to say thank you so, so much for, spending some time here today and just chatting up with us on the Fit and Fuel podcast. You guys, I'm going to put all Amy's information in the show notes below. There'll be a link to the club and also to the free gift. Right? What was the free gift again? Will you tell us one more
The
time?
free gift is a creating instant confidence guide. It's got 6 tips to create instant confidence, and the
Love
link
it.
will be in there too. You can actually go to ahigherwayofliving.com/instant confidence in case for whatever reason the link doesn't work.
And you guys, I'm going to give you guys the ability to contact Amy too. So, if you want to set up an actual call with her, if this is something that you want to dive a little bit deeper into yourself, a mindset coach and someone to help you with that is huge. Therapy is great. Yes.
Oh, huge. Yeah.
That mindset is a little bit different. I think that I'll say this too. I think that if someone is suffering or you feel like you're suffering because maybe you're depressed or you have some anxiety, and if anybody's ever said maybe you need to get on medication, first, run. And two, think about working with someone and talking through it, because medicine doesn't fix anything. It just makes the problem.
Yeah. And I'm happy to hop on a complimentary call with anybody that reaches out. I will say this, there is a big difference between coaching and therapy. So I'm always going to refer to a therapist if it is something that only therapy can work with. So I don't want you to think that anything in our business, I'm a big proponent of service before profits and people before profits. And so it's important to me that and that the listeners know that you're not, if you come here and it's not the right fit, that's okay. We're going to help you find the right people to have in your corner.
And it's the same way in my business too, right? I have people come to me with different illnesses. I'll just say that. I'll keep it very vague. And sometimes I'll tell them, like, you guys, this is above my pay grade.
Absolutely.
And I can help you with some of your nutrition, but this that you have going on, like, we need to seek counsel from somewhere else, right? And a good coach will do that.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you again. Thank you all listeners out there for hanging out with us today. And Amy, like, you're just an amazing human. I'm so glad that our paths have crossed. So I just look forward to continuing to work with you and you working with me.
Yes.
I'd love to have you back on again sometime.
I would love that. Yeah.
We didn't even touch on hypnotherapy.
So my gosh. Yeah. We'll get to hypnosis and hypnotherapy another day.
But rabbit hole in itself.
Geez, it's so wonderful. But no, thank you so much, Nicole, for having me. For listeners, thank you all for tuning in today. I genuinely appreciate it. And it's always wonderful to be able to share the gifts you have with other people. So thank you again. And let's do it again soon.
Absolutely. All right, my sweet friends. So I just want to say thank you guys for listening today, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.